In the world of gentle brushstrokes and happy little trees, Bob Ross became a symbol of peace, creativity, and kindness. But behind his calm voice and iconic perm lies a haunting mystery: the story of his son, Steve Ross. A son who vanished from the public eye during Bob's lifetime and only resurfaced after his death. And with that return came a storm of controversy, family tension, and a bizarre battle over Bob Ross's legacy. This is the chilling story of Bob Ross's lost son. Bob Ross was more than a painter. He was a cultural phenomenon. From the early 1980s to the mid-1990s, his show, The Joy of Painting, aired on PBS, soothing millions with his soft-spoken narration and serene landscapes. To the public, Bob seemed untouchable, a man immune to the chaos of fame. But away from the cameras, Bob was also a father. His only son, Steve Ross, appeared in a handful of episodes, inheriting not only his father's talent, but also his easy charm. Fans instantly noticed the similarities. Some even wondered if Steve would one day take up his father's mantle. Then, suddenly, Steve disappeared. As the joy of painting reached its peak, Steve faded from the spotlight. He stopped appearing on TV. Interviews about Bob Ross rarely mentioned him. To most fans, it was as if Steve had vanished entirely. Why did Bob's only son disappear from public life? The truth is complicated. Sources close to the Ross family suggest that Steve's relationship with his father's business partners was tense. As Bob's fame grew, the people managing his brand, the Kowalskis, longtime friends who became co-owners of Bob Ross Inc., began tightening control of the empire. Some say Steve was quietly pushed out, his presence no longer welcome in the world his father had built. And while Bob Ross maintained his warm public image, those closest to him admit he struggled privately with illness, legal disputes, and the growing weight of his estate. Bob Ross passed away in 1995 at just 52 years old after a battle with lymphoma. His death left fans devastated, but it also unleashed a bitter struggle over his name, image, and legacy. Bob's will stated that his name, likeness, and artistic works should remain with his family, primarily Steve. But his longtime business partners, Annette and Walt Kowalski, claimed ownership through a complex series of legal agreements. The result? The Bob Ross we see on coffee mugs, t-shirts, paint kits, and endless merchandise today isn't controlled by his family at all. Steve Ross, Bob's only son, was effectively cut out of his father's empire. For years after Bob's death, Steve remained silent. Fans speculated about where he went, why he had disappeared, and what he thought of the way his father's legacy was being sold. Some even wondered if he had abandoned painting altogether. Then, decades later, Steve resurfaced. In interviews and appearances, he began quietly sharing his side of the story. He revealed how difficult it was to watch his father's name and art transformed into a corporate brand, while he, Bob's son, had no say. Even more chilling was Steve's admission that his father had wanted him to carry on his legacy, but the legal system and corporate maneuvering made that almost impossible. What makes this story truly unsettling isn't just the personal tragedy, it's the surreal way Bob Ross's name lives on. Today, Bob Ross Incorporated markets his image everywhere. His smiling face appears on waffle makers, energy drinks, board games, even Halloween costumes. Millions of dollars flow through the brand every year, yet Steve Ross receives none of it. And while Steve has tried to move forward, teaching painting workshops and reconnecting with fans, the shadow of his father's estate still lingers. Fans who stumble upon his classes describe the experience as surreal, watching the son of Bob Ross, painting with the same voice, the same gentleness, but outside the empire that bears his father's name. The mystery of Bob Ross's lost son isn't just about a man who disappeared and reappeared. It's about how even the gentlest of public figures can leave behind a storm of unanswered questions, corporate battles, and personal heartbreak. Steve Ross remains a living link to Bob's world, a reminder that behind the happy little trees was a complicated human story. And for fans, the chilling part is this. The Bob Ross we remember may belong to us in spirit, but in reality, he belongs to a corporation. Bob Ross once said, "We don't make mistakes, just happy accidents." But when it comes to his son and his legacy, it seems the accidents were anything but happy. This has been the chilling story of Bob Ross's lost son.